Welcome to the next video from Visionis Academy. In this session, we're going to learn how to build an end-to-end generative AI solution using Snowflake. And to start with, I'm going to just launch a blank SQL file and show you across how the data would look like. So we have a HR analytics related data set, and we have these details available in my database, which is SQL batch 16. Within this, I have a particular layer called bronze. And within the bronze layer, you can take a look at the table names which we have. Since this is a HR analytics data set, we have a table which is employees that is going to tell me all the employee related information. And similar to employees, I have attendance. So for all the attendance captured, each of the employee records is also available. The status represents here whether they are present or not. In addition, I also have the attrition data in this particular table about the employees who are not active anymore. And lastly, we have the information about performance. So basically, we have 5 tables for HR analytics, and all the data is present in our bronze layer. Now, we're going to learn something called Cortex Analyst in Snowflake. So a lot of students who are learning Snowflake, especially on the AI ML features of generative AI, get confused about Cortex Code and Cortex Analyst. So let me start explaining about what exactly Cortex Code is. Let's say I have a data from SQL batch 16 dot bronze dot employees. So let's say this is the data I have, and I'm writing an SQL query where I need help in extracting only the domain name from the email. So now the email ID looks something like this. I want to extract only the domain name and from this email and store it in a separate column, but I don't know what function do I need to use. So that's where Cortex Code will come into picture. So let me repeat, Cortex Code is going to help you write SQL queries, troubleshoot your SQL queries, and fix some errors in your SQL queries. So let's go ahead and ask a question to the Cortex Code saying, help me modify my SQL query to extract domain name from email column. So I'm going to hit enter and let's see what Cortex Code is going to do here. So it has started reading my SQL file, the current SQL file, which is open over here. Now it has identified the column called email, and you can see it is using a split part as a function, and it is using a delimiter at the rate to split the data, and it is putting out the second part of the splitted data and extracting as a domain name using my select statement. Now you can see there is a two section, there is a red and green section. So what it says basically is this is the query which I have written. If you think this is correct, you can go ahead and click on keep. So before go ahead and click on keep, I'm going to click and run this SQL query. If you go to the extreme right side, you can see it has successfully added a domain name column and it works as expected. I can go ahead and click on keep, right? So now the question is Cortex Code is, again, I'm going to repeat, it's going to only help you write efficient SQL queries, troubleshoot SQL queries, and also perform debugging and fix errors. It is not a generative AI end-to-end solution. This is only going to do these many activities, right? It cannot answer questions to your end users or business users. Or I cannot ask, like, for an example, to show me the total employees by attrition rate, right? It cannot do all of that. It can only help for the developer. That is what Cortex Code is all about. Now we're going to learn something called Cortex Analyst. So let me go to AI and ML in my Snowflake, and you can see there's an option here called Analyst. I'm going to click on this over here. And let's understand what Cortex Analyst will do. To start with, I'm going to click on Create with Autopilot. And now I'll say this particular screen is talking about provide context. This is an optional screen. We're going to click on Skip. We're going to give some name to our Cortex Analyst. So I'll call this as HR Analytics Expert. Right? I'm just giving some name, and this will be stored as a semantic view. And I want to save this in the gold schema of my database, SQL batch 16. I'm going to click on next. This is the most important section for your Cortex analyst to answer questions about your data sets. You have to choose the tables. So what we are going to do now is under SQL batch 16, I'm going to expand bronze, expand all the tables, and I'm going to select all except this. So these are all my tables related to HR data. So I'm going to select all of them and click on next. In this particular screen, you have to choose what all columns do you need to pass it on to your Cortex Analyst to ask questions. So now you can see that it is displaying me all the column names. So for now, I'm going to select all the columns and then I'm just going to click on create. As you can see, that steps are so simple. So we're going to minimize Cortex code. We don't need this anymore. Our semantic view is getting generated, and now we can start asking questions for our Cortex analyst. Before we do it, as you can see, since we have multiple tables, we need to tell or build a intelligence to the Cortex analyst to answer questions from all these tables by adding relationships. So to do the relationship part, we're going to click on add relationship here, or you will also see some suggestions given over here, right? So in case if you see and validate the suggestions are correct, you can add it directly from this particular screen, or we can manually go and add a relationship over here. And I can say from my employees table, you can join departments table, and the common column present in both table is department ID. So I'm going to click on save. Well, similarly, we're going to add another relationship and we'll say from our employees table connected to attendance. And then we have common column, which is employee ID. Note that whenever you're choosing a wrong cardinality, it throws an error because the cardinality here is one to many, right? So we're going to click on add. Again, we're going to again click on same employees table. This time we're going to add a relationship to performance, and we have one-to-one mapping. The common column present in both the table is employee ID. We're going to click on add. So we have added relationship for 3 tables. So let's go ahead and add for the last one. We are done with attendance. We are done with performance, departments, attrition. So we're going to say one-to-one, and the common column present in both the tables is employee ID. With this, we have added relationships for all the 4 tables now through an ER diagram. All of them are connected to each other. Now let's go ahead and ask questions. So I'm going to click on playground and say, with basic questions, let's start by asking how many total employees do we have? Know that Cortex Analyst is going to build a SQL query, but along with that, it is also going to provide an accurate answer for your end user in a form of insight. So let's go ahead and press enter. And it has understood the interpretation of your question and says that I have 2,600 employees overall. Now let's ask them intermediate level questions. I can say, give me a breakup by city. Now I don't have any column called city in my employee table, so it has to join, and you can see, okay, city, we have a column city, so it is able to bring in the same query and get the information. I'll also say, give me breakup by department. Now, I don't have department column in my employees table. It has to join with the department table. You can see the query, it has successfully able to join with departments table because you built the correct relationship. So Cortex Analyst now knows that it has to join with department tables. And you can see the maximum employees we have is under IT department and around 700. Now, let's say we're going to ask some questions about how many attritions do we have by department, right? It has to join multiple tables now. Let's go ahead and hit enter. Right? See, it is now able to join with multiple tables. And finally, your end user is able to see the output over here. It is saying that maximum. So this is how you can use Cortex Analyst to ask some business insight related questions, and it gives you an interpretation of that. Now let's go ahead and create another Cortex Analyst for retail datasets. Again, I'm going to click on AI and ML. I'm going to click on Analyst. So before we do that, it is asking me to save this. I'm going to click on Don't Save because I already have an analyst for that. So now I want to set up a Cortex Analyst for retail. So let me go and click on Create with Autopilot. I don't have any context. Let me skip. Here, let me give this name as Retail Expert, right? We're going to click on Next. This time I have only single table which has all the details. So I'm going to click on my Superstore Gold schema. This is the table which has all the information of my retail sales. I'm going to click on Next. I need all the columns from this particular table. And then let's go ahead and click on Create. As you can see, it's already started analyzing my data set and it is ready to provide some suggestions and I can ask questions with the relevant insights. Right. So let's go ahead and click on Playground. To start with, I'm going to ask some basic questions. What is total sales and total profit? Let's see if it is able to give me the output. You can see the output is correct. I have a total sales of 2.3 million with 2.95K of my total profit. Now I can ask some tough questions about how many repeat customers do I have? I want to know if there are any repeat customers I have my data set. You can see it has taken count distinct of order ID and it has added another query of count of order ID. So you have a repeat customer of 792, right? Now I can ask what is the ratio of repeat customers and one-time buyers by category, right? Let's see if it can answer this one. You can see that under office supplies, we have the maximum number of repeat customers and one-time buyers is only 34. This is how Cortex Analyst can provide you some deep insights on your data set. So, and I hope this video is very informational to you. Now, let's jump to the last section of this particular video where we are going to learn about some AI functions available in Snowflake. So to do this, let's go ahead and open our SQL file. Okay. The first function we have is snowflake.cortex.complete. So this function is going to create a detailed content about that particular topic. So now I'm going to write a topic name here. Snowflake Arctic is the model name on which we are going to use and generate a content. Tell me what is unique about India, especially Mumbai. I want to generate some topic for this. Let's go ahead and click on play. As you can see, it has given me all the details about what India as a country in, and it is also giving me some details about Mumbai. So this AI function is going to describe and generate a detailed content on the topic which you have specified. Let's go to the next function. This function is going to generate a sentiment analysis. So the function name is snowflake.cortex.sentiment. So I got my parcel yesterday and I had to follow up with many people. So let's go ahead and run this. You can see the sentiment function is going to generate a score between -0 to 1. -0 means extremely negative, 1 means extremely positive. Since this is a negative, so you can see the scoring is on the negative side. So without using Python, without writing a lot of scripts, just write inside your SQL, you can generate a sentiment analysis by calling a built-in function. Let's go ahead and try the next function. This function is going to translate any particular text available from one language to another. So let's say I have, if a text says, welcome to our data analytics course. It's written in English. I want to convert it to Hindi. So let's go ahead and click on play. You can see this language has been converted to Hindi. In case if you have a table where you want to convert the text from like customer name or anything else from one language to another, this is a built-in function readily available for you. Now, the last functions which we have is classified text. So let's say you have a feedback received from employees or you have a feedback from your customers on some reviews. You want to group them by reading the comment, whether this particular feedback is related to shipping, payment, or technical, right? Now, there are plenty of comments, so I don't have to manually go and do it. So I can simply write this classified text function. The comment says I have made a transaction already, but it's not reflecting. So it has already identified that it's nothing to do with shipping or nothing to do with technical. So it has grouped under payment. So as you can see, Snowflake is one of the leader in market when it comes to data analytics and especially on the Gen AI related futures. So hope this is an informational video for you. This is just a quick glance of how Visionis Academy helps students learn practically on data analytics. We provide weekend, offline, in-person training with trainers having 10 plus years of experience in tools like SQL, SQL Server, Snowflake, Microsoft Power BI, and Fabric. So in case if you are found this in a video informational, please leave a like and comment, share it with your friends, whoever finds it helpful. See you in the next video. Have a nice day.